A very popular thing with Buffy fans is to rank seasons. What is the best season? What is the worst? Could it have been done better? Speculating fan theories, what really happened, etc., etc. And season 4 gets beat up a lot. Now, I have a lot of issues with season 4 myself. Mainly, though, I'd have to be honest, they're mainly the political, cultural things with season 4, missed opportunities, also, well, there's no nice way of putting it, a lot of racism and fascism. Even homophobia and sexism. It's very strange that even though Buffy is called, quote, a feminist TV show, there are tons of moments that are pretty sexist, like full blown sexist too. So it's very head scratching. And I know people are going to be like, well, obviously we now know the truth about Doth, and he slipped in. He's really Tim Pool, alt right Trump guy. No, these are sometimes episodes written by women, produced by women, directed by women, and the showrunner of season 4 was a woman. I'm not going to do a full blown deconstruction of Marty Noxon or the myth that somehow Marty Noxon, yeah, she ruined Buffy, but somehow Joss was mind controlling her through a secret room. No, guys, listen. At the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Marty Noxon is not a good writer, not a good producer. As a director, she's actually okay. I like what she did with Into the Woods, but for the most part, she's not very talented. But for whatever reason, Joss gave her the responsibility to control and run Buffy for the final seasons, and the record is very mixed. So, ironically, I'm going to be defending Noxon's work, but it is very, very mixed. So, I'm going to do very minor spoilers. I'm not going to detail all the plot beats or all the episodes. I don't have to. It does have a lot of good episodes, a lot of great episodes, actually, and fans appreciate those things. So, why is season 4 so rock bottom? Well, I think it's two major factors, right, in how people begin with the framework. So, there's two ways of looking at the season. One is to look at the individual episodes, which is tricky. Season 4 is very difficult there because it does have a lot of two-parters. So it's not just one single individual episode, right? So it's looking at the individual episodes or even the two-parters together versus the season-wide story. Like Buffy is one of the few shows of the time period that had stories that technically were the whole season. But being Buffy, it was a little bit all over the place. So you had some episodes that were self-contained. They are part of the season-wide story, but they're mainly about the individual episode story. So it's a little dualistic, right? There's always two Buffy seasons. The individual episodes, which could be frankly very awful and stupid, and if you watch Buffy randomly, you're like, I don't get it. What's the big deal? This seems like a stupid show. Yeah, if you look at bad individual episodes, it does look like, who cares? But if you look at the whole season, it's actually a pretty strong story. And again, if you look at the best episodes, it looks much better. So you can have two scoring systems. One, looking at the best individual episodes versus the worst, and say, okay, it's above average. And I think that's where season 4 is. However, it's really the season-wide story that gets pounded a lot. So what was the problem? Well, it's interesting. I don't think people know. I mean, people list the major problems, but I don't think they make sense as problems. So probably number one for a majority of fans. I'm not saying the smart fans. I'm not saying the lore experts. But probably most fans cannot stand the initiative, and they cannot stand Riley. So Riley, the initiative, and some of the initiative soldiers just drive people up the wall. Why? I'm a little puzzled as to why. But a lot of people just found the initiative horrifying. Like, they just didn't like. I'm trying to discover reasons why, but analysis here are very few and far between. Best I'm coming up with to be reasonable, I guess, is that the initiative was just clashing too much with what Buffy is as a show. So I guess people think Buffy is like a fairy tale, which it is, or Buffy is more horror, but the initiative is too much like a sci-fi, spy thriller, conspiracy thriller kind of thing. Like generically, it didn't mesh with what Buffy is. And I would have to say, one, that doesn't make sense, right? You can't have horror that is pure horror, but science fiction horror is a thing, guys. Like, look at The Fly. So, science fiction can have a horror angle, and horror can have a science fiction angle. They're not radically separate, so that doesn't make sense to me. Also, no idea in principle is bad, but a lot of people just find Riley unbearable. They find the initiative unbearable, and that just drops the score. I would agree Adam is a very flawed villain, but I don't think because he's a bad villain. I actually think he's one of the best Buffy villains. I think it's the way he's utilized in the season that created a lot of problems. So there were certain behind the scenes drama that really acted negatively the entire season. For instance, Maggie Walsh, one of the main villains, and clearly they were right, building her up to be a major antagonist, is killed very early. That's not a spoiler because it is super quick. Apparently, what happened is the actress had other commitments and said, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay? So they had to bring in Adam much earlier. So, what was the real story or the original idea? I don't know. It turned out to be really sloppy and stupid. Like, Adam, for whatever reason, metaphorically killed his mother for reasons. And Maggie came back as a kind of zombie cyborg for 3 seconds. There you go. So, again, I'm defending Adam as a great villain, but clearly that was not the original story. They were going to do it a different way, introduce him differently, but they did what they did. And the problem is, Adam is just way too powerful. So, I myself like what Adam did. I actually really like what he did. Like, he did these really weird strolls and walks. Paradoxically, he's very powerful and super intelligent, but he's basically a baby. He doesn't really know the world in any real sense, so he's just walking along, traipsing through the initiative and just discovering things, trying to figure out how to do things. And I actually enjoyed that, but a lot of fans just went livid, like, why is he just not doing anything? And then, of course, and this is a major, and I'm not defending this is just ridiculous. He is insanely big. Like, the actor is insanely tall, but somehow he's able to just walk through all these buildings and never get noticed. He doesn't have invisibility powers, so nobody noticed this massive Frankenstein monster? Not until the end of the season. So I think Adam, in principle, was actually a great villain, and if they used him better, like Glory or the Mayor or the others, could have been really incredible. But as it is, because of all this behind-the-scenes drama, and also some people could be there for a while, some people had to leave. For instance, Faith, as well as Oz, the characters, are there for a brief time period. I definitely know with Seth Green, he left the show. So was Oz going to be a major part of the story? I don't know. But him just suddenly leaving felt weird. And this ties to the Adam episodes because it's like, well, Buffy's got a pretty good team. She's got Faith, she's got a werewolf, and so on and so forth. Oh, no, they're gone. Why are they gone? I don't know. Faith is going to LA to see Angel for reasons. And that is something that is also tricky, that basically a lot of episodes were sacrificed to Angel season 1. And to be consistent, Angel season 1 is a little rocky, but it's actually pretty good. So they're lending characters to the other series, like because Oz shows up there too. So they're letting Angel borrow a lot of their own personnel and their own characters. So that's going to leave some problems because now they're magically not in Sunnydale. So they got to figure that out. And Adam is so powerful, he could literally kill Buffy at any point. Until the final episodes, he could just pick up Buffy and just toss her away. But Adam is letting her live because? And Adam just magically appears and disappears whenever the writers want, which he can do. He's that powerful, but it just feels very lame, right? The other Buffy villains, yes, that's the same problem. Why are they waiting? Kill Buffy now. Kill her now, she's a threat. But we are given reasons. They're not good reasons, but reasons why the Mayor or Glory or the First or others do not go after Buffy right away, right? There are reasons they hold back. And Adam really doesn't have that reason. He's not even human. He's a cyborg. When they reveal the reason, it's like it's supposed to be like this clever final trick that he and Riley have a secret bond together, but you're like, one, I don't believe you, because Mark is not a good actor. He is now, but they just gave him too much. He was just not prepared. He was not well trained enough. So it just feels like his acting is really weak. And compared to Sarah Michelle Gellar, it just feels ridiculous. Whether you like Sarah or not, she's a good actress. So when you pair her, a really good actress, to an actor who just started, it's going to feel uneven, right? Versus when she's acting with James Marsters. And by the way, James and Sarah did not like one another. They hated one another. But still, when they're acting together, it's believable. The chemistry, whether it's hatred or love between Spike and Buffy, is palpable. But when Riley comes in, it just feels like he's basically hot guy who takes off his shirt for Sarah to look at. Good for Sarah, but for the story, it's just like, why is he here? Why are you together? Why is Adam not killing Riley? It's like, oh, there's a twist. And then they give you the twist. It's like, that's not a good twist. It just feels very manufactured. So too much of the story feels constructed. Now, of course, it is a show. It is constructed. But the other seasons feel more organic. Even though they're not my favorites, like season 3, I think is overrated, and season 2, too. Nevertheless, the villains and their motivations feel organic. Here, it just feels very forced. Why is Riley here in this scene? Why is Riley in this episode? Why are we focused on Riley? don't know. Why are we focused on Adam on this episode? I don't know. Why are we doing a Jonathan episode? Don't know that either. It doesn't have a strong structure, right? So the individual episodes are strong, but they're not structured well with the season. To be bluntly honest, even season 5 has a very wonky sequence of episodes, but it's not as bad. Here, it's just whiplash, where one episode, Riley straight up wants to kill Buffy for no good reason, and then the next episode, hey, we're back together in love. And you're like, he tried to kill you. Like, what? Did that not even register? And then Buffy's like, I understand. And I swear to God, outright, Buffy out of nowhere just says, oh, Riley, you're a racist. And Riley's like, what? And they spend a whole episode to redeem him being an anti-racist. On cherry on top, because Marty Noxon can't get a dictionary, they label Finn a racist and an anarchist. First, I don't think they know what racism is, because the show is pretty racist, especially in this season. And then they think anarchist means, oh, you're just a rebel. That is not the meaning of anarchist. That is one definition, but it's not literally the definition of anarchist. It's just like, this is not even about Buffy. It's like, do you guys have a dictionary? Like, it's just that stupid sometimes. It's like, this doesn't work with basic concepts of reality. Like, what do you guys do? You're in college! She's a college student! Like, Buffy would be able to know these things. So, like, does she take no courses in politics? They have no dictionaries in this university? Like, what is happening here? And that is just the start of the problems. Like, there are so many places, it's not well structured, characters are not making sense, motivations are very muddled, the themes and mythology, which are really the best in Buffy, right? The mythology is just all wonky for no reason. And granted, there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that Marty Noxon did not control. But at the end of the day, it just seems clearly Joss made the wrong choice. Like, fine, you want to pick a female showrunner, fine, whatever, girl power. He picked possibly the worst choice, and the episodes really suffered. Because, again, Joss also had, to put it mildly, behind the scenes drama, but he is a much better writer. So when they had to change or fix things, they have a better foundation. With season 4, the foundations are weak, the stories are just too weak, and the payoff is super weak. Even though it technically has the best, probably final episode, like Restless, but Restless is not really part of the main story. It's not really about Adam, so for most of the actual season, we're just waiting and waiting for really bad twists, and when they happen, you're like, okay, well, I predicted the twist. It's not even that clever, so what was the point? So it just feels like a big missed opportunity. Quite literally, I'm not joking, you have 15 episodes or so that are narratively just stuck. They're not really progressing the story. And then just speed run towards the end, and you're like, okay, it just feels very fake and phony. Like, you guys, you had a lot of problems. You didn't understand how to resolve them. And so everything's just being resolved in a very artificial, constructed, phony way. And we're moving on to the next season. So it's a rough ride. I will say, do give season 4 a chance. It is very good overall, but it has so many places it just plummets to nothingness, and nothing happens. And then next episode, nothing happens again, and you're like, is anything going to really happen? It's like, oh, wait for 3 more episodes, and Spike is going to, he's going to jazz things up. Which, that's Spike. He jazz things up all the time. And you're like, well, why didn't he just jazz things up earlier? Well, they had ideas that didn't work. And there you go.